Good evening. We welcome you to a meeting of the Buchanan Community Schools Board of Education. All regular meetings have been posted on our website, in our central office, and in each district school building. Tonight's agenda has been posted on our website and emailed out to the BCS Board of Education community subscription. Our school board members received the agenda and all supporting documents for reports and action items several days prior to the scheduled meeting, so they can review information, prepare questions or comments, and are ready to participate fully in the discussions and votes that encompass the duties of their office. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for regular public participation during the meeting as indicated in item H. If you wish to make a presentation to the board, please fill out the speaker card and pass it to the board before item H on the agenda. Thank you for your support of Buchanan Community Schools. Let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are moving on to item C. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 We are moving on to item D, election of acting chairperson.
I make a motion that Superintendent Patricia Robinson act as the acting chairperson for this meeting.
Second. Yes.
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 Thank you. We are moving on to item E, board member appointments. Our first one is election of president. And we are opening this up to promotions for someone to nominate someone for the president.
I make a motion to nominate Harvey Burnett to serve as president of the Buchanan School Board of Education until the organizational meeting in January of 2023.
Support.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on over.
Yeah, you can.
Switch it on.
Pass the gavel. Thank you.
Moving on to the next item for Vice President of the Buchanan Community Board of Education until the organizational meeting in January of 2023. May we have a motion, please?
I, Chris Carlson, nominate Ruth Ryder to serve as Vice President of the Buchanan Board of Education until the organizational meeting in January of 2023.
Support.
Any other nominations? Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to item E3, election of the secretary. May I have a motion, please?
I move to nominate Kelly Lesh to serve as the Secretary of the Board of Education until the organizational meeting in January of 2023.
Support. Yes.
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 Yes. Moving on to item E4, election of treasurer. May we have a motion, please?
I nominate Chris Lee to serve as treasurer of the Buchanan Board of Education until the organizational meeting in January of 2023.
Support.
And roll call?
I can do that now, right?
Yep.
All right. Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Miss Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Miss Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Miss Ryder?
Yes.
And Dr. Burnett?
Yes. And moving on to item F, adoption of the agenda. May we have a motion, please?
I motion the agenda for the organizational board meeting of January 10th, 2022 be adopted as written.
Support.
Roll call?
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Miss Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Miss Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Miss Ryder?
Yes.
And Dr. Burnett?
Yes. Moving on to item G, recognition of visitors. We'd like to welcome you to the board meeting tonight. And we will move on to community dialogue, citizen concerns. I do have
Got another one, yeah.
a couple of cards up here. All right. So the first one that I have, Don Ryman. Someone may have to give him the mic.
Oh. You want me to speak?
Thank you.
Until just a few minutes ago, I hadn't received any answer from the Buchanan District School Board to my objections to the mandating of ineffective masks for students. I haven't had a chance to thoroughly review that answer, so I can't address it now. I did receive a call from the mother of one member of the school board berating me for my position against mandating masks. She gave as one of the reasons for mandating masks the opinion that medical masks were necessary of a medical doctor in South Bend who limits himself to the specialty of caring for premature babies. Where this mother got my telephone number, other than from the card I filled out, in the present situation of no telephone directories, I question. In fact, the masks are designed by ventilation engineers and inventors who are not medical doctors. So a medical doctor doesn't know any more about them than I do as a lawyer since 1951. The American Civil Liberties Union got a court order in Michigan against restaurants which prohibits them from collecting information about customers because the restaurants have no way of keeping the information from being released to the public and violating the customer's right of privacy. This court order applies to school districts to the extent they ask for information about a person desiring to speak at the board meeting other than her or his name. Whether or not the masks are effective, and I know of no evidence that they are, mandating them is prohibited by the Nuremberg Code, which prohibits mandating the participation in experimentation with drugs, vaccines, or medical devices. The Nuremberg Code requires the informed consent of anyone called to participate in the experimentation with drugs, vaccines, or medical devices. In the case of students who are minors, it requires the informed consent of their parents. The masks have been in use for less than a year. Use during a period of at least 7 years is considered experimentation with drugs and medical devices. This is a basic civil right growing out of the mandatory medical experimentation by the German totalitarian tyranny of 1933-1945, which it took a war and the death of several 100,000 American soldiers and sailors to eliminate. The mandating of masks has a stench of totalitarian tyranny. Board members who will not stop this totalitarian tyranny should resign. If they do not resign, it will be necessary to make them stand for election again by a recall. Previously, members of this board harassed citizens who questioned their actions by contacting those citizens' employer and threatening to remove the school board's banking business from the employer if the employer did not fire those employees questioning the actions of the board. Here, the information received other than name is used by the school board to illegally invade the privacy of the persons properly and with right questioning actions of the board. 3 of the present members of the board were elected to prevent such harassing interference and invasion of privacy with respect to the right of free speech to ever happen again.
Hey, Don, I'm sorry.
We are asking
Don, I'm sorry.
we
we're
are
at the end of
asking
your
these
time.
members
Don,
particularly to stop the present
sorry I have to cut you off, Don.
with the civil rights of
But we are at
students
the end
and
of
their
your time
parents.
there. Thank you, my friend. Moving on to the next, John Stubblefield.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is John Stubblefield. First of all, I want to thank the board for successfully completing the reorganization this evening. I will not be able to attend the Buchanan Board of Education meeting on the 17th, so I'm taking this opportunity to provide the following for consideration. I fully support COVID vaccination program, and I am fully vaccinated, including booster. I fully support anyone who wants to wear a mask in any setting, in any place, anytime. I am absolutely opposed to any mandate requiring a COVID vaccination or the wearing of masks. My position has nothing to do with COVID, but has everything to do with my right of choice, which is constitutionally guaranteed to every citizen of the USA. Children are the least vulnerable to the effects of COVID, so please let them experience our educational program mask-free. Follow the science. Thanks for your consideration.
Thank you, John. All right. And last card, I think it's Ryan Chandler. Okay. Yes, sir.
So I'm coming out of Niles. I was invited here tonight by parents that could not attend, specifically a farming community, according to one of my friends. I don't want to give their names, but my name's Ryan Candler. You can call me. My phone number is 269-340-4645. You can send all the hate you want. I did bring, I'll bring it down, yeah. Can you hear me? You hear me now?
Better.
I got nodes. I don't have COVID, just so everybody knows. Like Pat Amy singing. I can't sing. So I brought with me tonight a few documents that I'm going to leave in your possession, sir, Mr. Harvey, sir. One is Edwardsburg's Return to Learn program. I was in a rush getting here. I didn't even know where the high school was. I couldn't even Google this place, believe that? It took me to the middle school every time, so maybe your IT guys can work on that if you wouldn't mind. This Return to Learn plan is pretty aggressive. Gets rid of quarantines. It gets rid of testing for your athletes. At this point, we know Omicron is here. I hope we all agree on that. Delta's kind of starting to fade away. It's still here. And that's what brings me to my other study. So I have the Omicron versus natural immunity. I hate to admit it. And the gentleman behind me said he's triple vaxxed. So what Omicron is doing is not putting people in the hospitals and it's not killing people. What it's doing is it's inerting your vaccination. So even before Omicron, the lasting triple vax goes 4 months. With Omicron, you'll only last for about 2 months before your immunity. You just got to keep shooting yourself up. And if you like gene splicers, by all means, I followed MNRA before it was, and I don't have the study for this, before it was in COVID vaccines, and they used it as a last-ditch effort to cure cancer. They try to control the cell folding structure when it's out of control, creating tumors. I don't want that in my kid. And I know the Michigan Department of Education is pushing on the equity lens hard. I know they're pushing on the COVID vaccination specifically that's been in talks this week. So please, you are the last line of defense for the parent here. And out of biggest respect, yes, we could threaten you, we're going to recall you. What we need is you to, the administrator, the superintendent doesn't have a choice. They got to do what the department head says. You're the last line for us. So please, look at this research. Make a choice that's not based on what you see on CNBC every day when Gail tells you from, the news center that all these non-vaxxers are against you. That's not the truth. We just don't want that in our children. And then lastly, the mask, obviously. You guys have been in it one of the longest groups, so I left a study for that. If anybody here knows Courtney Davis, she had a little get-together. You guys had some, a cookout, all the superintendents, and she gave you a bunch of mask studies, about 15 pages worth, all from the CDC, none of which, they all talk about the spread, the reduce the spread, which I know you guys want to get rid of the COVID. It's going to go away if we mask. It won't, I promise. But this is the only study you're going to find about how it affects your child. And this is just one from the CDC, because I know you wouldn't believe me if I told you about the American Medical Association. I didn't have time to print that one. But your children are breathing 6 times the lethal dose of CO2. This study was done with a 15-minute exposure in the mask. At 8 hours, you're causing kids' brain cells basically to die inside their head. So their development's going to be something to look at here in the future. And I hope that there aren't lawsuits. I know the lawyer group's saying, hey, as long as you follow the CDC's guidance, the health care department, don't ever go against your administrators because we're going to put you in jail. That's what the lawyer groups are telling you guys. But I promise you they're a liberal bunch. Please pursue the real science. The parent wants not the COVID spread to stop. We want this mask not to kill their brain cells. So this mask study shows an increase of face mask carbon dioxide levels, and that's from the CDC. That's the one that Courtney Davis didn't put in your packet. Thank you for allowing me my extra time tonight.
Right. And thank you, sir.
God bless you.
All right. Moving on to recommended action, other item I is committee assignments.
So I'm going to make a motion, but then we go through these one by one. So I'm going to make a motion. The Buchanan Board of Education appoints the following board members to the committee as specified below for the 2022 calendar year. So then we have to go through each one, obviously.
Right. All right. So I guess I'm doing that.
I was just going to say, for those of you who are not aware, we do this by seniority on who has been on the board the longest. So Dr. Burnett gets to have the first choice.
And you have the seniority list, right? Because
Oh.
I have no clue.
Oh,
We-
you, Ruth, me, Chris, and then
And then the
3.
And then those can alternate,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I'll start first. I'll go with board policy. And then I think, who's next? Ruth?
Ruth.
I'm going to do curriculum, please.
And then Kelly, the next one.
I'm going to do the human resource.
All right, and then is Chris.
Finance.
Want me to go?
Sure.
B, we'll go with Barry. Human resource.
And
Scott or Chris?
Scott or Chris?
I'll take facility.
Feel like it should be 800 at the end of that.
And then,
Was that me?
yeah.
Second, I'm just trying to keep better track of.
We'll let you know what's open.
I'll do curriculum. Thank you.
Okay. Then I'll do Safety Committee.
What was that?
Safety, Mercy, and Security.
I think I'm next, and I will serve on the Human Resources.
Let's do Public Relations.
Chris?
Facilities.
We can go,
Katie.
Katie?
Ruth said to rotate, so go
You
ahead,
want me?
Chris.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah,
got
we can
you. Flip
rotate
it
some.
around.
Yeah, so
Go ahead, Chris.
Finance.
I'll do public relations.
then Katie.
I'll do public relations.
Then I'll do the MSABA voting delegate rep.
I'll do Board Policy.
I'll do Farm Advisory.
Emergency security.
Scott.
Is that me?
Yep.
I'll do the Breeza voting representative.
Teresa?
I'll do policy.
Security.
Okay. All right. Then I'll do the Beer and Cass School Board.
I'll do Facilities.
Dang you, Ruth.
Sorry.
And I'll take, I'll do BRISA alternate.
Do Barry and Cass alternate.
I think Katie this time,
Katie,
right?
go back.
MASB alternate.
I'm already on it, so you got it.
Oh, yeah. The last one.
I'll be
See you next week.
I'd like to make a motion. I'll be the farm advisory.
Alternate.
My knowledge of husbandry is.
You can join anytime.
So I guess you're doing finance, huh?
Looks like. Ruth, you jinxed me.
All right.
So then who seconded that? Sorry.
So Kelly made the motion.
I read the motion, yeah.
So we need a second now.
I
with
will.
all the names.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we have a second. And roll call.
I can get my page, sorry. Mr. Lee,
Yes.
Miss Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Carlson,
Yes.
Miss Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin,
Yes.
Miss Ryder,
Yes.
and Dr. Burnett.
Yes. All right. Moving on to item I2, building liaisons. And these are just board members who the liaison with each of the buildings.
We'll do like we just did.
We'll do it, so we'll take a motion and then we'll fill it in. From there.
Yeah, we usually let people pick if they have children or whatever. It's
Yeah.
usually easier.
Yeah, it's just easier to do it that way, because I have to
Yeah.
be in all buildings anyway, so,
Yeah.
so it's just easier for everybody else to take.
And I'll, since I'm way past that, I'll be a liaison as needed when we get all the others filled in.
Okay.
So I make a motion, the Buchanan Board of Education appoints the following board members to serve in the capacity of building liaisons as specified below for the 2022 calendar year.
Support. When we get there.
So you two just passed, so then me? Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah, that's fast, and so,
You guys passed?
so, yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. Kate.
I'll do Ottawa.
All right.
Chris.
Chris?
I'll do BVA.
Let Scott go since he got shafted on that.
Yeah, Scott.
I'll be the alternate for the beat. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do the high school.
I think it's Katie.
Go ahead.
I'll take high school.
I'll do middle school.
And then I'll do Moccasin.
Middle school.
Yeah. 3.
Yeah, It's Chris.
Back to me, all
Yeah.
right?
What are we left
We
with?
got Moccasin and Ottawa left.
Did
I'll
everybody
take
go?
Moccasin.
Everybody get a chance?
Yeah,
You can go.
I'll do Moxon.
Did you both pick that? Sorry.
no, you pick.
I took Moccasin, you have Moccasin.
And I have Moccasin, so Ottawa's what's left. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
Who's Ottawa with you?
I have Ottawa, so there's an open spot for Ottawa.
Who's the other Moccasin one, though?
Myself and Chris Carlson.
Oh, okay. I'll do Ottawa, it's fine.
Are you taking Ottawa, Ruth? Or are you doing them all?
Or, does Ruth,
So usually
Ruth and
in
Harvey, are
the,
you guys doing a school or no?
we do, I go to,
I can go to all of them.
yeah,
and
I go to all of
will.
them.
Okay, and
Yeah.
I
I
don't want to use
hit
the
'em.
word indifferent because it makes it sound like I don't care about going to schools. You can put me
Right.
wherever and I'm
Yeah.
happy to go.
so
Yeah.
usually what happens in the past, before COVID, was principals would invite all of us, but then sometimes they would have activities where they would just need like one of us to come, or we couldn't all be there. So we try to go to the schools that we represent, or we're the liaison between. Or if they needed help with something, they would like reach out directly to the building liaison. So that's why kind of Harvey and Ruth probably can go to more stuff, or,
You can put me in the second spot for Ottawa. I
Okay.
still have a student there too, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that includes like serving Thanksgiving dinner
Right.
when we have that again, and spelling bees, and geography bees, and high school
When
activities.
we've had all that
and
fun
so
stuff.
on.
Yeah. All right, so we had a motion, second, is everybody,
Who seconded it? Sorry.
Oh, I did?
Okay, Ruth, got it.
so I think if there's no objections, go ahead with roll call.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Miss Barry?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Miss Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Miss Ryder?
Yes.
And Dr. Burnett?
Yes. Moving on to item I3, legal counsel, may we have a motion?
Make a motion that the Board of Education appoints Troon Law Firm of Lansing, Michigan as Board Legal Counsel for the 2022 calendar year. If needed, the board also approves the use of Clark Hill Law Firm specifically for legal counsel of personnel/human resource concerns.
Support.
And these are, other than Clark and Hill, Troon has been our main source of legal counsel. Oh, can you hear me? No, other than well, Troon has always been our source of legal counsel for the school district. In Clark and Hill, we've been using on a consulting basis for human resources, correct?
Human resources, right.
Yep.
And this year, we haven't used them at all, but it's just always there.
Correct. Okay. Any questions, comments from board members? Roll call.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Ms. Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Ms. Ryder?
Yes.
And Dr. Burnett.
Yes. Moving on to item I4, school depositories.
I move the following institutions be retained as depositories for the appropriate school funds for the 2022 calendar year. United Federal Credit Union, Honor Credit Union, Michigan Class Investment Pool, BMO Harris Bank, UMB Financial Corporation, and U.S. Bank.
Support.
And again, these are our standard depositories that we use. So, any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Berry?
Abstain due to employment.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Ms. Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Ms. Ryder?
Yes.
And Dr. Burnett.
Yes. Moving on to item I5, auditor services. May we have a motion?
I motion the Buchanan Board of Education approves the recommendation as submitted by Business Office Specialist Carrie Brunsting for utilization of audit services from either Krugel Lawton and Company or Stevenson and Company.
Support.
All right. And I think these are pretty standard as well.
So these are standards. So currently, we use Stevenson and Company. With the previous Finance Committee, we had been speaking about moving back to Krugel and Lawton. So it hasn't been decided yet, but we wanted to make sure that was included in case the board does vote to move to that.
Okay. All right. Roll call.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Ms. Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Ms. Ryder?
Yes.
Dr. Burnett.
Yes. Moving on to item I6, cooperative agreements.
I make a motion the Buchanan Board of Education approves cooperative agreements for the 2022 calendar year with the following entities: REMC Association of Michigan, School Specialty, HPS Group Purchasing, MSBO Bus Purchasing, and Great Lakes Consortium.
Support.
Okay. And again, Ms. Robinson, these are our
These are
standard.
all standard, yes.
All right. Okay. Roll call, after I just took out my nose.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Ms. Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Ms. Ryder?
Yes.
And Dr. Burnett.
Yes. And moving on to item I7, the calendar for this year.
I motion the 2022 Board of Education meeting calendar is approved as written.
Support.
All right. And the calendar, pretty much standard dates
Yeah, looked good.
and everything. Any questions or comments from board members? All right. Do you have a motion and a roll and a second, right?
He motioned, I seconded.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Ms. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Carlson?
Yes.
Ms. Lesh, yes. Dr. Carlin?
Yes.
Ms. Ryder?
Yes.
And Dr. Burnett.
Yes. And moving on to question or comments from board members. Item J.
I'd like to congratulate the Herd for their Battle of Fans competition. They were named one of 9 semifinalists today, and we are the defending state champions. So
Yes.
congratulations, and looking forward to seeing what we bring in 12 days.
I would like to bring up a matter just for one with the public comment, that I would suggest that the board do a work session, reference new legal guidance that we received, and then just making sure that with our legal guidance that we are all on the same page, because we have different things in our policy. So obviously, if we have a work session, we can discuss different matters, what the board would like to do while we hold meetings. And then we obviously would bring it back to a board meeting on what was discussed, because we can't pass anything in a work session. We just bring it to a board meeting. So basically, just to review our policies, make sure that all the board members are on the same page, and that moving forward, we stay consistent.
Okay.
I like your recommendation, Kelly. And that goes along with one recommendation that I have, that I would suggest we put as an agenda item for that, would be the Community Dialogue Citizens Concerns agenda item that we have. In referencing other districts, I think dialogue may imply a response, so I suggest we revisit that wording to be consistent with what we determine in that meeting is what we will follow.
And I think we can discuss that in that work
Yeah.
session.
That's a good point.
Yep.
All right. Any other comments or questions?
I'm good.
All right. And our next board meeting is going to be January 17th at 6 o'clock. And we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.